Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today, this Vixio Gambling Compliance webinar. I'm Catherine, Principal Analyst at Vixio. I'm excited to introduce you to Vixio's market assessment tool for online gambling. So in today's webinar, we're going to be talking about some of the challenges faced by the online gambling sector, how our market assessment tool can help overcome these challenges, and a few use cases to demonstrate the outcomes that you can create with the tool. But first, for all those of you who are new to us, we are Vixio Regulatory Intelligence, the leading provider of business intelligence for both gambling and payments. Our gambling compliance vertical was created in 2006 to help suppliers enter new markets and stay compliant where they operate. Our gambling compliance platform is a comprehensive regulatory and business analysis and monitoring solution. We help commercial teams enter new markets and forecast their market potential. And we help compliance, legal, and strategy teams stay ahead of regulatory changes and prepare for new requirements. So that's Vixio in a nutshell. Now, I'm sure you know, gambling is one of the most complex and volatile industries in the world. And in recent years, online gambling liberalization has spread from core markets to become a much more global phenomenon. Now, whilst this has enabled greater revenue potential, the diverse nature of these new regimes, as well as strong competition and the lack of licenses for all, has meant increased regulatory scrutiny and complexity at the same time. Now, given this complexity, and our clients have told us this, it's difficult to keep track of it all, much less make the most of it. So we've listened and we've built this tool. And we've also sought input from 11 senior compliance, regulatory, and strategy professionals that make up Vixio's Executive Advisory Board to ensure that we're serving our clients across different organizations. So, what is the market assessment tool? Well, in a nutshell, it makes understanding the online gambling landscape a simple task. With more than 1,500 data points, the tool helps operators and suppliers make key market entry and product launch decisions more quickly and effectively than ever before. The tool gives you on-demand access to insight for 140 plus jurisdictions by various parameters, including market size, regulatory regime, restrictiveness, advertising restrictions, and more. And this access enables you to feel like an expert in minutes. So before we go on to the demo, if you have any questions, please ask them via the button on the side of your screen. We will monitor these and come to them at the end. And while you're watching, I want to hear from you. In the chat, what's the biggest challenge with entering and staying compliant across multiple jurisdictions? So to the platform. So firstly, here's how you can find it. Simply go to My Tools, just here, and you can find Market Assessment Tool just there. As you can see, the Market Assessment Tool offers executives a balanced view of the risks and opportunities in one dashboard, with users able to refine their search by deploying the filters to the right to help what's important to you. Our filters display 9 key regulatory and market intelligence indicators plus jurisdiction. This includes regulatory status, which shows the extent that online gambling is regulated, regulatory restrictiveness, which is based on factors including tax rates, compliance requirements, deposit and stake limits, and product restrictions, license availability, which shows the extent that licenses are available in that jurisdiction, tax burden, which shows rates ranging from low to very high, advertising approach, which is how strict the advertising rules are including limits on bonus offers or other inducements. Enforcement activity, how aggressive uh, the jurisdiction is in imposing fines and other related enforcement actions. Policy direction, which ranges from liberalizing to tightening or outright prohibitive. Market size, which shows the total addressable market for online gambling. And market trajectory, which is based on the rate of revenue growth for each market and measured where possible on a 3-year compound annual growth rate. To understand what each of these categories mean in more detail, feel free to click on the methodology button just here, and you can find the definition of each variable. The market assessment tool is also updated once per quarter for each jurisdiction by our in-house analyst team, and all changes are included in the drop-down just here for each jurisdiction. So now you understand the categories, let's see it in action. Let's say you're entering a new market or wish to move beyond your home market, and you know the kind of characteristics that would make an attractive opportunity for you. Let's start off by inputting some desirable characteristics. Let's choose fully regulated. Licenses available? Yes, please. Market size, let's go for large and very large. And market trajectory, let's go for high growth. So applying these filters, the markets that fit these specifications are the Czech Republic, Germany, the Netherlands, Ontario, and Portugal. So from here, we can reorganize the results according to the ordering tools at the top of the table. So you can reorder for tax rate to see the most competitive tax rate, or you can reorder the market size to see which of the markets is just large, not very large. We can go further. We can download this data as an Excel spreadsheet right here to use for further analysis, or potentially perhaps integration with any models or presentations that you're creating. Now, once we have our ideal markets, we can go in for some in-depth analysis. Let's select the remaining parameters. So let's select regulatory restrictiveness, tax burden, advertising approach, enforcement activity, and policy direction. And let's select the jurisdictions, so Netherlands, Germany, Ontario, the Czech Republic, and Portugal, and click done. And let's compare. Now, this is interesting for me. You see, before I was looking at Germany as a strong contender, but knowing now that it has high tax rates and a very restrictive regulatory regime, I may need to reconsider whether this market is really right for me. Perhaps somewhere like Ontario or the Netherlands, both with lower taxes and a more competitive regulatory regime, might be a better bet to expand into. As before, this data can be downloaded via the download button just here. And you can go into even more detail with our country reports, but via the research tab, and any data we have on that jurisdiction via the data tab at the top just here. So moving on, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to reset the filters and clear selection. So we're back to where we were. Let's do something different. Let's say you don't know what you're looking for. Let's say you're in Ontario and you want to know which countries are broadly equivalent, i.e., countries that shouldn't be too different from an advertising or tax or enforcement perspective, the sort of thing that you know already. So looking at Ontario, let's just find Ontario for a second. These are the factors that make Ontario. So let's see what's similar. Let's input similar indicators into the tool. So let's start off with fully regulated. Let's go for a competitive tax rate, competitive regulatory regime. Let's go for licenses available. Let's go for a competitive tax burden. Let's go for restrictive or liberal advertising approach. Let's go for medium or low enforcement activity. And let's go for a stable or liberalizing policy direction. So what we end up with are 5 other markets and toggling, say, market size just here to very large. I think you'll agree with me that New Jersey looks like a very strong contender, or possibly even Malta as an entry point into the European market. However, do bear in mind that, as you can see here, New Jersey has a limited number of licenses available, and firms will likely have to partner with an existing land-based operator, the details of which you can find in our country guides on the research tab just here. And with that, I'll say thank you very much for listening. I hope you found that really useful and informative. And let's go straight to questions. So, here's one now. Can I use it, or sorry, can I use the market assessor to look up information on a market? So yes, you absolutely can use it for the purpose. In fact, we've had clients who've said that in the past they really need to quickly look up the tax rate, or you need to look up whether the market is regulated. So yes, this is absolutely something you can do. It's a very efficient way of doing that. Okay, next question. How often is the tool updated? So I think, as I said, the tool is updated on a quarterly basis. However, interim updates, they may be made based on the timing within that quarter. So, for example, if it's gone about halfway and there's a new update, then you'll likely see that update in the market assessment tool. There's one more before I move on to the question. So, how comprehensive is US state coverage? So, as I am aware, all 50 states are covered by the tool, along with Canada's 10 provinces. And you'll be pleased to know that coverage is comprehensive in almost every region of the world. So let's go back to our challenge. So what is the biggest challenge with entering and staying compliant across multiple jurisdictions? So according to our clients, it's keeping abreast of varying and changing regulations. And well, that's our aim with gambling compliance, with our tools. We want to make it as easy for you as possible. So with that, I'll say thank you very much for attending this webinar. We will share a video of this afterwards. And if you have any further questions, please visit us at vixio.com. Thank you.